Hey everyone, Shane here with Pinnacle of Devy League, and I am here to give you kind of an outline of the league. My goal is to create a fantasy league that was so Devy focused, so Devy deep, that we're actually testing owners on their Devy knowledge. So my goal is to bring together 12 owners and really test their Devy knowledge and put that in a competitive atmosphere. So we use WhatsApp for communication. It's kind of been my favorite, and that's how we're kind of run these things. And a lot of it's going to be done on Google Docs, Google Sheets, and the like of that. So let me kind of run down everything here, how this will work. So here's the league schedule, and this will kind of outline what the league will look like. In year one, we're going to have a 100 round Devy draft. 12 teams, 100 rounds, 1,200 players. The deepest Devy draft I've ever heard of, from mid-June to early August. If it takes longer, then that's fine. But I figure about 2 months max is good for this, as long as things don't slow down too badly. So that's going to be the brunt of our team. Everyone's going to go in with 100 players, and you can draft anyone that is not in the NFL. So in college, in high school, that's probably where most of them come from. You can do that, and anyone's available to be drafted. After that, we'll do a 6-round veteran/rookie draft. So what this will be, any player in the NFL or any player just drafted into the NFL can be selected, and I'll get into later kind of the restrictions on this. But you can trade for extra picks, but it has a bit of a downside, and trades can happen throughout, of course. So, and that's it. There's no scoring, no nothing this year. In year two, we'll have a 25-round Devy draft, right? The Devy's going to be very depleted at this point after 1,000 players are drafted, but another 300 we're going to put in there. Guys emerge, more long shots people want to take, new classes in high school. So I think there'll be plenty of opportunity for that. Then we'll have a 2-round rookie draft. So anyone drafted into the NFL that has not been taken in Devy can be drafted in this rookie draft. And then following that would be a 4-round veteran rookie draft. So any rookies not selected or any veterans still remaining that haven't been taken the past year. So there should be plenty that people will want. You can take them here. And then year 3 is when we're going to start scoring the league. So we'll do the same thing, 25-round Devy draft, a 2-round rookie draft, and then the 4-round veteran rookie draft. And then we're going to have a best ball league. So any player that you drafted to that point that's in the NFL that can score in fantasy football will get scoring and will be on your team. It's going to be best ball. I'll get into kind of the roster requirements in a bit, but that's the brunt of it. So, in shaping this league, I did want to have a cost associated. I didn't want it to be super huge, but I didn't want people to be invested. So it's $25 a season. This covers the league fee and the cost of my fantasy league. And so what I had everyone do was deposit $75. That actually covers your play through 2024. So it kind of locks you in for these years, right? If you're drafting 100 Devies, I want you to keep your team. I don't want you to bail. So that's what this is. Next year, there'll be no fee associated. And then starting in 2022, you'll pay $25 a year, and that kind of covers your 4th year. So you're kind of paying for a few years down the line because your 75 has already covered everything up through that. So if you have to leave the league, then I'll try to get your money back, but you could lose that money. Someone has to take over a team that has no roster. That's very difficult. So as I kind of outlined and talked about a little bit already, the Devy drafts, any human is eligible who is not in the NFL, free agent, retired, or is 4 years out of high school. I probably should clarify a little bit, if someone's 5 years out of high school, gray shirt, that kind of thing, that's fine. They're still in college, right? So that's kind of the key. But I didn't want someone who left college, didn't get drafted, has never been on a team, well, I'm going to draft them to happen. I think that's rare. So that's a piece of that. Then 2021 It's 25-round draft, same eligibility, but anyone who has declared under the draft is not eligible. So that's that. We're going to be doing these on Google Sheet. So I found the best way that everyone can edit, that I give links to those that have editing access. So, and I'm kind of deciding how to do this. I think we'll probably invite those specific teams so that people can also follow along with the draft that can't edit the sheets. So I'm also going to have a master list of players alphabetical by last name that'll be attached to that so that you can look up in the future, hey, is this guy taken? And people can pass on their picks. So if you're not prepared, if you don't know who you want, you don't want to hold up the draft, especially when we get past the first 20, 30, 40 rounds, it's basically preference. You can pass and say, hey, I'll get back to it tomorrow. You guys can keep going, just out of courtesy. One of the caveats I put in here that I've run into in leagues I've done off of Google Sheets is the player's name must be spelled correctly. And sometimes there's some controversy over how a player's name is spelled. Someone like Jordan Brooks, who the Seahawks drafted in the first round, was one for a while. But any misspelling could lead to you losing that player. And this may seem super dumb, but if you draft someone, you spell their last name wrong, there's some difficult names out there, and I'm looking at the sheet, or I'm using the find feature on Google Sheets, and they don't pop up, and I take them, I don't think I should get penalized for your mistake, right? So that is something. If it's caught and it's fixed, great, but either someone's drafting someone already drafted and it's their fault because they didn't check, or someone's drafting someone already drafted but it was misspelled, so they'll get them. You'll have to repick. That's how it will work. So, and if you draft someone previously drafted, you can change your pick. You retain the rights to all players on your team unless traded or cut for the rest of their lives, even if they're retired out of leagues. Someone like Rob Gronkowski, you drafted him as a Devy. He retires, you lose him. He comes back, you get him back. That's essentially that. So rookie veteran drafts, this is what I want to get into because I don't want this league focused on veterans. I don't want to focus on guys that are currently in the NFL. That's not my goal, but it seems kind of dumb to run a fantasy league without those players, right? So my goal with this is to kind of limit the number of veterans or rookies that you can bring in 22. So basically, you can only carry 18 total players drafted in the rookie and veteran drafts into the actual league in 2022. So the first year of scoring, you can only bring in 18 of those players. That's it. Trading for more or players or picks before that, you're going to have to cut down to 18. So that's, I hope that makes sense. That's kind of my goal. So people can't, in the initial 2 years, can't stock up on veterans and just be like, screw this Devy part. This is a Devy league. This is completely focused on Devy. I want it completely focused on Devy. So I don't expect much trading of these veteran picks unless it's to move up, move down, that kind of thing. So for subsequent years, only 6 total rookies, vets can be added into your team. So that's how many picks you get each year. So you can do less if you want to. You can trade some of those away. But it does, it has positives and negatives. It does temper down trading a little bit of those picks. Like, there's no reason really to trade them or trade for them. But at the same time, it keeps the Devy focused. And one team's not just going to trade for everyone's veteran picks and, dominate the league for 3 years. I don't want that to happen. So, anyone declaring for a supplemental draft will not be eligible until the following season. So if someone declares for the supplemental draft, they won't be eligible. If they're drafted before they declare for the supplemental draft, then that's fine. That's something we'll get to when we run into it. But I think I've set up the drafting decently well, except for the initial year, to bypass the supplemental draft in the initial years when we will run into maybe some issues with that, but we'll see. So, actual league play. What does it look like, right? The league's best ball, no roster in-season management. All these guys have a lot going on, and I don't want in-season this to be a focus. I want this to be an off-season league. I want it to be a league where you draft and forget about it. You don't have to worry about it. So, it's super flex. It's not tight end premium. I debated that, but I ended up going not tight end premium to put a lot of focus on those running backs and receivers, which is where most leagues are focused as it is. We have 11 total starters, mostly flex positions, is where I want to keep it. The IDP, very similar, 11 total starters, most are flexed, so you can go whatever direction you want. The IDP, the scoring, I'll have a link up in the description of the scoring. It's pretty, PPR, pretty normal for offense. The defense, it's hyped up a little bit, 1.5 for tackles, interceptions, and sacks, 5 points. But at the same time, IDP scoring is usually pretty tight as it is. So you can take a look at that league scoring right here and do that. The max number of roster spots are 90 players. So if anyone's somehow over that, they'll have to make some cuts before the first regular season game. I don't think it'll happen. I don't think we'll have a 90-player roster just with the nature of the league. But it could happen, absolutely. And that's some decisions will have to be made on that. So any player that's in the NFL database will get on your roster. And I'm just sticking with my fantasy league's designations, especially for IDPs. Sometimes like, oh, what's an edge? What's this? If things change, then we can change that. Draft order is kind of interesting. I'll include this link in the description as well. But I set up the draft order for the first 3 years. So already I set up the draft order for the initial draft. It's a snake draft. I flipped it to go the other way for the veteran draft. And then what I tried to do was kind of balance the draft picks among teams. So each year I kind of changed the draft order so everyone gets a shot at 1 or 2 pick, gets a shot at a 3 or 4 pick, at a 5 or 6 pick, at a 7 or 8, at a 9 or 10, at 11 or 12. It's not completely fair, but with the league this deep, it's not going to matter too much. So you can take a look at that, and I'll have a separate video going over the draft order, what that is, and then what those draft orders look like. So trading, here you go. Trades can happen on WhatsApp. You can tag me and I'll make it happen. And then once you move to my fantasy league, comments will be public, and you can do it that way. And then some general league etiquette, no collusion, clarification about the rules, activity, draft picks, etc. So there's that. Here's kind of the payouts. If you want to look at that, we'll see. A lot depends on the MFL fee for the year. So that's Pinnacle Devy League. It all comes down to the drafting. 100 round Devy draft, 25 round Devy draft every year. We're going to have a ton of players wrapped up in this league. So I hope you guys will follow it. I hope you'll enjoy it. And thanks for watching.